All right, are we all good? All right, hi everybody. Thanks for the introduction from Jamal. Great to see everybody. I say it like every single year, but the sheer joy of seeing these faces who I see once a year, it's so nice to get together with everybody. Some people, I'm meeting for the first time, which is great in person. Other people I know, I don't know if he's still in here, Nick Muldoon was here all the way from Australia. He has been able to finally come back to team again. So nice to see people like that we might only get a chance to see, once a year. But I'm actually here today to talk about a topic that I think people in this room will be pretty familiar with, and that is the idea of trying to find a way to give our customers the experience in the cloud that they want in data center and server. So I'm curious, how many people in this room have heard this kind of question before? Just show of hands. Yeah, right? I'm pretty sure, I can't say for sure, but I'm almost positive this was the first question I ever got asked, 2017 summit in Barcelona. Why is there a difference between your cloud app and your server app? And we know what those challenges are. The functionality is different. Why is your app in cloud different than, why isn't this feature the same? I don't want to be in the cloud because I have to give up security, and I have this this server instance that I've had in place for years. Now I'm going to have to migrate it. Am I going to lose anything? These problems aren't unsolvable, but they're definitely challenging. And so what I wanted to do was just take a little bit of time to talk a little bit about how draw.io has addressed those challenges with our own app. So I think we can probably break it into 3 different sections here in terms of how you find success with your cloud apps. The first is you've got to be good at problem solving. I know everybody here, we work in software, we have engineers on our team, they are ace problem solvers. But it's not always just a question of how you're solving the problem in the code. Sometimes it's really about thinking about fresh ways about how you can do stuff in the cloud that has success. It also takes a real dedication to security. It's not just a matter of getting cloud fortified or making sure you're part of the bug bounty program. It's about taking real steps in the direction of security for your own customers. And then I think another thing that we found has been really helpful is to lay out really clear expectations for your customers in terms of that migration experience and what they can expect in the cloud. So let's talk about the thorny issue of functionality parity. And you can talk to almost any vendor that has an app in the cloud and an app on premise, and that's one of the biggest challenges, is how do I make sure that it can do the same thing? We asked this question back in 2017 to Atlassian, and the answer they gave us was build cloud first. So don't worry about your on-premise app. Build it for the cloud. Whatever you build for the cloud should then work for on-premise. Not necessarily the same way. And I can tell you that the response to that answer was not great. Not a lot of partners really appreciated that answer, but 5 years down the road, over time, it has been proven to be a pretty successful method of product development. And for us, draw.io, we do build with the cloud first in mind. And that allows us to have a product where the experience for customers going between on-premise and cloud is pretty seamless. I think it's also important to be open to thinking about how you can solve things in different ways. You can't necessarily duplicate a feature, but can you give the value of that feature in a different way? One of the examples that came to mind when I was thinking of this presentation was what Refine did with Refine Theme, having to find a creative way to solve that issue of being in the cloud, but not being able to give necessarily a carbon copy experience from the user perspective. But this is the challenge for us, right? Is not just about copying, it's about problem solving and being creative to find different solutions to give that feature parity. And then the other thing I think is important to think about is cloud does give you opportunities. You can leverage what the cloud does well to give your customers an enhanced experience. So an example of that is actually a feature that draw.io just announced. We have developed a feature called Smart Templates, which utilizes machine learning and AI to help your customers, our customers, build templates faster. So By utilizing machine learning and AI and having APIs we can use to power that, it allows us to give our cloud customers a feature that is, really exciting, allows them to work way faster, way smarter, and that value in the cloud app is big for them. So by focusing on the cloud and what it can do well, we can actually develop really cool features. But if all it was great cloud features, people would be there already. I don't know if it's the same for everybody, but certainly this security topic is one of the first ones that comes up when I'm talking with customers. They love the idea about the cloud. They love the features that are there. They don't necessarily love the fact that they can't be as confident with their security. And that's true, but it's not necessarily the end of the story. I think that there are certainly things we can do as vendors and partners to communicate things to our customers that can give them a little bit more confidence. And part of that starts with the products themselves. So one of the things that draw.io did was take a look at our product and see if we could find a way in the cloud to give customers even more security than what we could offer out of the box with the bug bounty and cloud fortified. So for example, we built a feature inside of draw.io that we call lockdown. So if you, in the configuration settings, put lockdown on, it eliminates any type of communication that isn't between a browser or a Confluence instance itself. So we have some Confluence functionality that's driven by some calls to our own servers, like being able to export as a Visio file. If you don't care about exporting to Visio, but you do care about security, you could use that lockdown feature to completely eliminate that feature, and therefore you can have more confidence in what you're doing. So to be able to go to customers and say things like that, I think it helps build that level of trust that, okay, we know it's not data center, we know we're accepting a little bit more risk going to the cloud, but by offering those kinds of things, I think it helps. And there's trust signals that we know that customers look for, things like bug bounty and cloud fortified, but SOC 2 is a big one as well. That's something that our team is working on. And so when you can invest a little bit of, I said a little bit, that's a lie. When you can invest a lot of time in your SOC 2 process, that's gonna help give your customers, and it has given draw.io customers more of a reason to be comfortable when we're talking about cloud apps. The other thing that I think is no surprise here is try to work with Atlassian, because even back in 2017, they talked about the cloud, and yeah, they made a big noise about data center in 2017. 6 years later, we know that the mission for them is cloud first. So it's important that we are engaging with our partner managers, that we are engaging with people on the development team, the product managers, and making sure that the future of Atlassian Cloud also includes the apps. Another thing that I think that draw.io does well is helping prepare our customers for migrations, because we all know migrations are a scary process, right? And yes, Atlassian says, okay, we want you to have a migration path, publish your migration path, let people have confidence in your migration path. But that's not the whole story. You can put it all out on a page that people can see, and it tells them what the migration path is, but that's not the end of the story. So yes, help people with migration, but can you build migration tools inside your app to give them more confidence? So we built a one-click mass migration for allowing customers to bring other diagrams into our app. For our data center to cloud migrations, we have an entire guide published that people can read through that walks through the step-by-step process of what they have to do. And basically, we have simplified it as much as possible, where it's a couple simple steps as far as indexing, and then you press a button and you're good to migrate from your on-premise to your cloud. It's an investment in time. It's an investment in development time. It's an investment in marketing time. But it pays off for customers, because customers want that level of confidence in the cloud. And it's not enough, like I'm repeating myself too often here, but it's not enough just to rely on what Atlassian is giving us. We need to push those signals out there for customers. And I think that approach for draw.io has been really successful. The other thing we try to do is give customers a positive view of migration when we can. Not everything is going to be positive. A lot of these people, they're not choosing to go to the cloud. They're being forced to go to the cloud. And so it's not all going to be roses, but there are opportunities. There are silver linings in there. And one of them is that it is a fresh start. You're not carrying around loads and loads of old attachments. You're not carrying around test users from 4 years ago. You're starting fresh, so you can now set up everything exactly as you want. And so for your overworked Confluence admin, that's good news. And when you can give them more confidence in your app, they're going to be more likely to be comfortable with going through a migration with you. Didn't want to spend the whole my whole time talking about draw.io, but I do want to leave with a bit of a pitch. We have worked really hard to deliver a great cloud experience to customers. If you are talking to customers who are trying to add diagramming into their instance, I would love to have a conversation with you and talk to you about what we've done to make that experience in the cloud really great. Things like real-time collaboration and the smart template feature I just talked about. And anything else that you're interested in learning about the product, please do find me. I think I have, Jamal, do I have a couple minutes or am I? 2 minutes. 2 minutes, see, nailed it. I can take 2 minutes if anybody has any questions. I'd be happy to answer now about the cloud or
does anyone have any questions?
No. All good. I would be super happy to talk to people out at the draw.io table if I can tell you more about the product. Otherwise, like I said, it's just great to see so many faces. Look forward to seeing everybody throughout the week, and I hope you do stop by the draw.io booth so I can say hi. Thanks, everybody.